Facebook leads the industry in stopping bad actors online. That's because they've invested $13 billion in teams and technology to enhance safety over the last 5 years. It's working. In just the past few months, they've taken down 1.7 billion fake accounts to stop bad actors from doing harm. But working to reduce harmful and illicit content on their platforms is never done. Learn more about how they're helping people connect and share safely at about.fb.com/safety.
Whatever business you're in, growth isn't just about getting bigger. At ADP, we believe it's about getting stronger by turning data into insights so you can build teams that work as teams. By using our AI technology to help catch payroll errors before they're errors. And by keeping ahead of thousands of changing regulations so you can keep ahead of everything else. ADP helps businesses like yours grow stronger every day. ADP, HR, talent, time, and payroll.
New major developments, again, sign of the times. The country's disintegrating in terms of a race war, of its Judeo-Christian values, of ethics. It's already disintegrated. And our educational system fails us. We can't even put the kids back in school because of the Democrats and the left trying to take total control with masks. I mean, I see people walking down the street in leftist parts of this country wearing masks when they're not even close to people, wearing them in their car. They probably wear their masks when they have sex. It's unbelievable. This is the left. They love themselves more than anything in the universe. They don't take any chances with their life because they're so precious. They must continue their quest to socialize, communize, and atheize this country, notwithstanding all the other radical ideologies. And we saw the left in full force yesterday. On behalf of Governor Gavin Newsom, he probably orchestrated it, dirty tricksters in his campaign. Larry Elder, who's running against him, a very fine man, an African-American, a black, whatever you want to call him, who believes in equal rights for everyone, who believes in individual initiative, not in the mold of Louis Farrakhan, but in the mold of ordinary folk, ordinary Americans. Went down to the ghetto yesterday where they're homeless in Los Angeles, walked through to observe what was going on, and was attacked with eggs, people calling him all kinds of racial epithets, people calling him a POS. You know what I mean by that. Don't want to use the language on this podcast. And then a white woman, apparently in a gorilla outfit, attacks him and attacks his bodyguard. You talk about racism. This obviously was a political stunt by Gavin Newsom. This guy is so despicable. He was not only caught at a very fancy restaurant, the French Laundry near San Francisco, without a mask, intermingling with his fundraising buddies, people that give him money, violating his own orders to the rest of the people in California to wear masks and to do so outside even. He even made a suggestion at one point that when eating, you should have your mask on. Just take it off as you take each bite. This guy's unbelievable. Remember, this is the character who violated law in California, Proposition 8, and started this whole concept of gay marriage. Gay marriage, which is against the laws of God, which was against the laws of even Californians at that time, who were quite leftist. And he violated the law. An individual reportedly has had extramarital affairs, yet, puts the LA Times up to attack Larry Elder with regard to, some woman that he had a relationship in the past, claiming that a gun was pulled on her. If you believe that, you believe in the tooth fairy. This is what you're dealing with. California, I spend time in California. I'm a citizen of Florida, but it's the richest state. It's the biggest state. It's hard to destroy it. But Gavin Newsom is doing a very good job. And while I don't tell people who to vote for as the head of a public interest group, personally, Larry Klayman supports Larry Elder. This is important because we need people like him. He happens to be black. He happens to be a libertarian conservative. He happens to be someone who wants to lower taxes, someone who wants to take care of the poor and the infirm, not just with regard to government help, but with regard to actually getting people to work. He wants to be able to create an incentive to work, rather than what Biden and the rest of the left is doing now, is paying people not to work because they want to destroy the economy. They basically want to destroy capitalism. That's what it's all about. But Gavin Newsom is now being supported, you guessed it, by Kamala Harris, by Barack Obama, by all the haters of whites, of the majority. These people are trying to destroy this country. It's disgusting when you see this video. I'm going to link it to this podcast when I get it out on our own email. And I want you to take a look at it because it tells you where we are today. We just can't take it. People roll over to these extremists, whether they're black extremists or Jewish, so-called Jewish, because they're not really Jewish, members of the Marxian Jewish left, or radical gays, lesbians, and transgenders, radical feminists that continue to push abortion, which is essentially murder of children, radical atheists, radical all of them. And that's why I wrote my book, It Takes a Revolution, Forget the Scandal Industry. The left has a master plan, and they've 90% already destroyed this country. First, take total control with COVID-19. Then, dole out money so people don't want to work. Bankrupt the country with free money, funny money. Then destroy police forces so massive crime is rampant, particularly in major cities. Then use the Justice Department as your own Gestapo to quell all dissent by rounding anybody up who challenges this government. And we know what's going on, and I have clients in that regard, and I've talked about it before. I can go on, but it's a total effort to destroy this country. But the worst is to destroy our basic Judeo-Christian ethic, where there's no such thing as a man and a woman anymore. You can be whatever you want to be, regardless of your biological genetics. Obviously, God knows what you are. But if your kid comes home from school and he gets the idea, or she, that he wants to be homosexual, then let him be homosexual. Don't even tell him that maybe that's not normal. Maybe that's perverted. Or if he wants to be a transgender, then take steps to turn him into a transgender. Particularly in Hollywood, it's very chic to have a transgender kid. Charlize Theron, an actress, turned her kid into transgender. You want people to live their life like this when it's not necessary that they live their life like this? But let's also talk about the anti-Semitism that's running rampant, the anti-Christianity, the atheism, everything else. It's rotting this country to the core. It was John Adams who said, without ethics, morality, and religion, there will not be a lasting liberty. They made it very clear, our founding fathers, that they could create a governmental system that would work, but it would not work when the people running it are corrupt and allow this type of conduct. Everything goes in today's world, whether it's marijuana, whether it's drugs, you name it. We are worse off than the Romans were or the Greeks were. And that's a fact. And this is where we stand today, on the precipice of complete destruction. So I want you to read my book, It Takes a Revolution, Forget the Scandal Industry. You can get it at Amazon.com, all major booksellers. You can get it at freedomwatchusa.org with a contribution of $50 or more that helps us do our work. And that work consists of citizens' grand juries. We're indicting Joe Biden today on the treason and on the negligent homicide that he perpetrated in Afghanistan. And we know what goes on there. We're also continuing with the indictment of Anthony Fauci, where it's now been disclosed through emails. Definitively, he lied to Congress, which, you get away with when you're Anthony Fauci. You can say whatever you want to Congress or in a court. Nobody's going to touch you. Particularly these judges protect the establishment. They're the product of the establishment. That's federal judges. He now has been caught definitively saying that they were doing gain-of-function research, manipulating viruses, making them more potent in that Chinese Wuhan lab. And of course, we know, along with Obama and Biden, he had $3.7 million appropriated to that lab, which then resulted in the creation of COVID-19, a likely bioweapon. Why is it that Freedom Watch has to bring class actions in Dallas, Texas, and Jerusalem, Israel? Why isn't our government doing anything? Why is it not just the evil Democrats, but the blowhards the racketeering enterprises of the Republican Party who go on TV and raise money for themselves in a re-election. People like Tom Cotton, people like Jim Jordan, people like Lindsey Graham, big mouths, shooting their mouths off every day. This is what we're going to do. You know what? They haven't done SHIT, yet they want more money from you every single day. And that is why we also have our Third Continental Congress, because we need to declare independence again, as we did in 1776, and go our own way. We will not be violent. We will not be physical, but we will be our own people because we no longer have a government. So support our citizens' grand juries, support the Third Continental Congresses, our other hard-hitting cases against big tech and social media. Everything we do, you, the people, can make a difference. And we will succeed with God's divine providence and grace, as we did in the years after 1776, on forming the greatest nation on earth, which has now all but been destroyed. Rise up, fellow Americans. Turn off cable news. Get to work. Do it for your children and grandchildren and future generations, because they're going to be living in a virtual communist, atheist hell. We're already 90% there. God bless you. Stay safe, and thank you for listening to me. I'll be back tomorrow with another special podcast.
You will solve the great mystery.
Streaming only on Peacock.
This is Robert Langdon. The suspect called him.
I teach symbology. He wants me to locate an ancient portal buried within the Capitol.
From the author of the Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons.
It's your dad. The people who took him want me to find a piece of a very old puzzle.
And executive producers Ron Howard and Brian Grazer.
We have to finish this, or my dad is dead.
Dan Brown's The Lost Symbol. All episodes streaming now. Only on Peacock.
Facebook leads the industry in stopping bad actors online. That's because they've invested $13 billion in teams and technology to enhance safety over the last 5 years. It's working. In just the past few months, they've taken down 1.7 billion fake accounts to stop bad actors from doing harm. But working to reduce harmful and illicit content on their platforms is never done. Learn more about how they're helping people connect and share safely at about.fb.com/safety.
Every year, compliance regulations change thousands of times. And every year, ADP makes thousands of seamless platform updates so businesses can focus on everything else, like running their business. Grow stronger with ADP, HR, talent, time, and payroll.